Yes, so many words could use to describe him, but loved for sure by the Man United fans. I'll be delighted about a new contract. How influential has he been for them, Nick?
Oh, he's been huge, hasn't he? I mean, you heard the testimonies of his teammates, of his manager there. I mean, he is a player who tends to come under scrutiny, doesn't he, occasionally? But I mean, these numbers, you can't argue with these. These really do highlight his influence and put some context to what he has done since his arrival in the Premier League in January 2020. So 46 Premier League goals, that puts him in the top 10. He's got 34 assists, the third highest total. Shots here, 397, third highest. And then we see these creative numbers here, chances created. He's top of the pile there, 417 chances created. 88 big chances created, again top of the pile. You know, this puts him ahead of Kevin De Bruyne, ahead of Martin Odegaard. And then we see as well his final third passes, again top of the pile, and off the ball as well. He is important. You know, possession one in the attacking third, 120 times he's done that. That's the second highest total in the Premier League. So yeah, these numbers really do highlight his importance to Man United and his quality.
I think when you're thinking of criticising, it's like, just remember this,
exactly,
remember what he gives. United open the Premier League season. It's at home to Fulham tomorrow night. Might he have to start in the false nine position again, though?
Yeah, it does seem like a possibility, doesn't it? We've got the injury to Rasmus Højlund, Man United without him at the moment. He's suffered that hamstring injury during pre-season. Joshua Zirkzee hasn't yet been used. He was an unused substitute in the Community Shield. We saw Bruno Fernandes used in that role again in that game. So yeah, it does seem like an option for Erik ten Hag. I suppose he could move Marcus Rashford into the middle potentially, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Bruno in that role again.
Ahead of the new season, I mean, United, they've got an abundance of wingers. You're tipping one man to have a breakthrough season, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I think it could potentially be a big season for Amad Diallo. You know, he obviously came into the team in the kind of second half of last season, or the final few weeks of last season even, and really made a positive impact. And you know, we can see his impact in these numbers here. You know, so remember, Diallo only played sort of 400 minutes, so it is a small sample size when we talk about his numbers. But yeah, some impressive numbers for shots. Okay, he's lowest on that front. Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford, they all averaged more shots per 90 minutes, but you look further down these numbers, goal involvements, Diallo's number 0.46 there for goal involvements per 90 minutes. That shows how productive he was. And then the chances, you know, chances created, 2.32 for Amad Diallo, which puts him well ahead of the other three. So that creative element is something he brings. And dribbles as well, you know, he can beat his man. We know that all these three players can beat a man, but his numbers do stack up well, don't they, in comparison to the other three. And yeah, just a reminder that his minutes are obviously low last season. He only came in the last weeks of the season, so it is a small sample, but it shows how effective he was and how he could potentially kick on after a good pre-season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Another big issue in the coming weeks. Let's focus on this left-back position. There's Luke Shaw ruled out until after the international break. This is due to a calf problem. Who will play there now?
Yeah, it's a familiar problem for Man United, isn't it? Luke Shaw, such an important player for them, but another injury, this time to his calf. So yeah, we see some of the potential alternatives for Manchester United here. Diogo Dalot has played a lot at left-back, as we can see here, 1,826 minutes played at left-back since the start of the 2022-23 season. That's almost a quarter of his minutes, so he is familiar with the role, so he could fill in there, move over from right back. But then we've got the new guy, Mazraoui, so he's come in obviously from Bayern Munich. He's predominantly a right back, but he has played quite a decent amount of time at left back over the last couple of seasons, as we can see here. 15% of his minutes have been at left back, so he's an option. You could have him at left back potentially and keep Dalot at right back. And then the other option, of course, is Lisandro Martinez, who played at left back as a kind of makeshift left back in the Community Shield. Obviously, that was a bit of a one-off, but he acquitted himself pretty well. It's just a question of whether Man United think he's too important to move from centre back when the season starts. Maybe it'll be one of these guys who gets the nod there.
Let's talk about who they're going to come up against. Fulham. I mean, they broke their record signing. They brought in Emil Smith-Rowe. How come do you think it didn't quite work out for him at Arsenal? And what does he need to do to make sure that it does work out for him at Fulham.
Well, I think he was unfortunate with injuries. You know, he had to have surgery on a long-standing groin problem, which caused him to miss a good chunk of time. When he came back, it was hard for him to get back in the team. He seemed to have slipped down Mikel Arteta's pecking order. I mean, we can see, you know, this kind of gives us an idea of how his opportunities dried up, really. So his breakthrough season, that 2020-21 season, he ended up playing, you know, 42% of Arsenal's Premier League minutes. He was heavily involved in the second half of that season, made a real big impact, a really positive impact. The following season, the number went up. He played close to 2,000 minutes, a higher percentage of their Premier League minutes. But it was after that that the opportunities started to go and injuries started to be a problem. And yeah, we saw the minutes he played really reduce, and it was obviously a sad loss to Arsenal. Such a popular player there and made such a big impact. But I think the move to Fulham made sense. I think the question for Fulham now is can he regain the form he showed earlier in his Arsenal career when he was so good, when he got into the England squad. And we see here...
Do you think Fulham might cause a bit of an upset against United?
Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's not the opening fixture they would have liked, probably, but the Rowe goal, so maybe that will give them some belief. Smith Rowe's come in, looks exciting, looks an exciting addition. So, no, they'll go there with some belief for sure, I think.
Yeah, well, there you go. You can see how United and Fulham get on. It is the first game of the season, live from Old Trafford tomorrow night, kicking off at 8 p.m. Our coverage starts at 6:30 on Sky Sports Premier League.